Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Denny Hamdani, and I will be serving as the moderator for this session. It is a great honor to welcome you all to the International Conference on Interdisciplinary for Sustainable Development, or this 2025, organized by RTC Commissariat 6B in collaboration with Universitas Informatika and Business Indonesia of Indonesia. We truly appreciate your presence today and hope this session will be insightful and engaging for everyone. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I would like to briefly introduce our distinguished speakers for this session. All the participants is come from Indonesia Membangun University. The first one is Mr. Andika Muhammad Siddiq. Hello, Mr. Andika. There's yours in the session. And then second one is Mr. Devi. Hello, Mr. Devi. And the third one is Mr. Pasir. And the fourth one is Mr. Asep Sulasidi. And the last one is Mr. Yoyo Sudaryo. Okay, before the presentation begins, I kindly remind all participants to maintain order and keep microphones mute during the presentation. Post your questions in the chat box or use the raise hand feature. Participate actively during the Q&A session after this presentation. Your cooperation will be ensured smooth and productive session. Okay, without further ado, I'm pleased to invite Mr. Andika Muhammad Siddiq to present the topic. The presentation will be last approximately for 10 minutes, followed by a Q&A session with a maximum of 2 questions or 5 minutes. Mr. Andika Muhammad Siddiq, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day to all of you. Thank you so much for having me as presenter for this session. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andika Muhammad Siddiq, and I will be your presenter for my research along with my friends and my students. Okay, so let's have a look on the PowerPoint. So here's the presentations that I make. I hope that it's quite useful for all of you. Okay, so the author is me, Andika Muhammad Siddiq, and there's my friend, Mr. Arihan Saputro and Mr. Reki, and then there are my student, Muhammad Ari Hadiansyah and Dia Amalia Hermawan. So let's go to the introductions itself. Okay, so let's see PT Inti. PT Inti is one of the BUMN owned by the government. And 6 years ago, 2019, it almost having a bankruptcy. Some say because it's don't want to adapt, didn't want to adapt to the situations because it's just kept his, old business model. But here's the phenomenon. Next year or 1 year later, 2020, they won, or PT Inti won Best Strategic Award. But at the same time, in the year 2020, there are reporters who report that for 7 months, the employee did not get the payment. So that's a problem. That's the empirical problem, right? The problem is about the payment or the compensations itself. So I think it will affect a lot, right? But the phenomenon is that they get an award. And surprisingly, 2020, they get another award, the best BUMN category grow and surviving. Well, I think if we look at the 6 years ago, 2019, they're almost having a bankruptcy and now they're surviving. Yeah, we could say that. But listen, these two words will, but NT will not get it if not having a good performance, right? So that is the first variables on this research, the performance. But which one? Organizational or employee? When I look at the employee, why? Because the 2020, the employee did not get the payment on time, 7 months. Come on, 7 months, almost a half year, more than a half year. So that's the second one. So because I need to make it level, in the individual level. So in theory, employee performance will be formed from the environment and the employee themselves by Robbins and Judge in their book Essential Organizational Behavior. Or the more exact word is that employee performance was determined by the person and situations, while a good environment supports a better performance as well. And factors in the environment include corporate culture, clear policy and procedures, efficient organizational structure, and support from college and management. Right? And this is what happened. But which one is person, which one is situations? Well, because the person itself is because we see the compensation as a situations, right? What is the motive? The person. The person's motivation itself. Well, when people didn't get what they need, they tend to have a low motivations. They don't want to go. They don't have any will to do it, to do the work. Yes, that is that's why motivations is the another variable in this research. And this time this is the person and the situations and compensation. Both of this, if we join it, it will create the employee performance, right? But here's the thing. Did the compensations only affecting employee performance? And there's a lot of research said that. There's a lot of research said that compensation, if it managed good, it will give you a positive impact on employee performance. Also, motivation. There's a lot of research that said that motivations have a good impact or positive impact on employee performance. But the story is end there. No, compensation has a direct impact on motivation itself. Because, the employee is not just, okay, I will do a good work. They have something, some satisfactions in their self, so they have a good drive to do the work. That's why this is the research model. That's why compensation is having a good positive impact on motivations. But here's the thing, here's the catch. Is it only that story? Or could motivation mediate the effect of compensation to employee performance? That is the main questions of this research. And the research method, in the research method, this study employs descriptive and verification approach. The study aims to describe circumstances surrounding each variable and validated the proposed theories. The participant is 200 employees, and the Amos graphic tool will be used because I want to use the path analysis, which means that I want to check if the motivation could mediate the effect of compensation to employee performance, and which one is effective. That's why I use path. So here is the result. The result is that if you see the regression line, all of them have a positive score, right? So if we look at the table in Amos, right, all of them have a 3-star and a p-value, which mean the p-value is lower than 0.001, which mean all of them have a significant impact. So hypothesis 1, hypothesis 2, and hypothesis 3 is accepted. So motivation and compensation have a direct impact to performance, and compensation have a direct impact to motivation itself. But the main question, is it mediating? Yes, the answer is yes. If we look at the table in a direct effect, there's a score, and the score is quite positive, 0.116. But is it effective? We need to compare it. If we compare it to the direct effect and the type of table 3, we see that the score of compensation to employee performance is 0.319, which means bigger or larger. So, in other words, motivation is having a mediate, it could mediating, but the effective way is the direct effect. So based on this finding, the management of PT Inti is advised to maintain the compensation system and amount currently implemented because it has proven effective in creating a productive and motivating work environment. Because from 2023 up until now, they made major changes, such as making a lean organizational structure so they could have a fair and a good compensation system. And yes, by maintaining a fair and competitive compensation policy, the company can continue to maintain a high level of motivation and performance among employees. Work motivations mediate the effect of compensations on employee performance, but the more effective path is the direct effect of compensation on employee performance. Okay, because the value, the direct effect is larger than the indirect effect. I think that's for today's presentations. I hope that I could give you a better understanding about what we are doing, the research that we do. If you have any more question further, you can contact me in this contact. Okay, thank you so much for watching this recording. uh, if you have any question, you could ask away anytime. Okay, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day to all of you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mr. Andika, for such an informative and comprehensive and attractive for your presentation. Now, we move on to our Q&A session for this session for question and answer. Due to the time constraint, we will be taking only one or two questions from the audience. Oke, kita akan batasi pertanyaan satu atau dua saja. Silakan bila ada audiens yang ingin bertanya tentang presentasi yang disampaikan oleh Pak Andika, silakan. Bila ada. But from moderator, it will be taking one question, Mr. Andika. Yes.
All right, it's okay.
Cool.
It's really. Thank you so much.
Okay, there's a question from audience. Okay, I think there's now a question from the audience, Mr. Andika. So I will be make a question for you, Mr. Andika.
Yes.
The first slide from your presentation is very interesting about the PTNT. In 2019 until 2022, there's a significant pivot from PTNT. So why do you choose PTNT as your research, Mr. Andika?
Okay, thank you so much for the questions. Well, here's the catch why I choose PT Inti, because it's quite phenomenal. Really, it's quite phenomenal because how does a company that having a bad situations get an award? As you can see before in my presentations, that in 2019 or almost 6 years ago, some employees complain that for 7 months they didn't get their payment for 7 months, and 7 months is more than a half year. So it really bugged me that the problem itself is quite, it's compensation. In Indonesia, compensation is really something that really powerful in Indonesia. But then here in 2022, a few years later, there is an award for that. That's why I'm quite curious how that company that has a bad situations get an award. That is for the empirical situations, and that empirical situations is quite different between with the theoretical gap that we have. Okay, the theory said that if company using a good compensation system, it will have a good performance, right? Robin said that, Fred Luton said that's almost a lot of research said that, even though some research said that if that compensation is good, it will be good. But if that system is not that really good, well, it will have a negative impact. So I think that's one. That's the main reason. And compensation itself, it's not affecting just employee performance, right? It's not affecting how you work, but how will you work? And when we talk about will, we will talk about motivations. And the motivations from Indonesian workers come from compensations most of the time. So that is the phenomenon for me between the research gap and the empirical gap. It's really, really different. That's why I choose these locations as our research. Thank you so much. I think that's my
Okay,
answers.
thank you for your answer, Mr. Andika. Thank you so much for your presentation about your.
Thank you.
And then for the bots for the presentation and your insightful answer, ladies and gentlemen, let us to now continue with our second presentation, and I delighted to invite to Mr. Debbie Rawan to take the stage. Please go ahead.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Debbie Irawan, and I am from Universitas Indonesia Mabangong. It is a great privilege to present with research at this conference. The title of my presentation is Application of Cancer Engineering in Website-Based Psychological Assessment, a Bibliometric Analysis and Systematic Literature Review. And the work was authored by Debbie Irawan, Kartika Nuradina, Rifki Farisan Akbar, Wildan Buta Prasetyo, and Iqbal Insanul Kamil. In this session, I will walk you through the background, methodology, and results. Lean reports 76% of companies now use psychometric testing in hiring, upending millions annually. In Indonesia, demand spans both private sectors and state-owned enterprise like Telkom, Pertamina, and Garuda Indonesia. And web-based platforms demonstrate superior preference over mobile application for psychological intervention due to enhanced cross-device compatibility. Unlike mobile app requiring reinstallation across device, web solution maintain consistent domain accessibility regardless of hardware change, offering seamless user experience, a critical factor in psychological service delivery. Proposed solution, cancer engineering, a design methodology rooted in human perception, offers a way to mitigate this limitation, including biases, to investigate the relationship between cancer engineering, website, and psychological assessment. Methodology this research to scrutinize the scholarly literature on cancer engineering application in web-based psychological assessment interface. This research utilizes a bibliometric approach, a quantitative method used to map the emerging trends, thematic evolution, and conceptual networks within a field. To elucidate the interconnection among three principal variables by undertaking a systematic literature review, which involves the meticulous identification, critical appraisal, and synthesis of existing scholarship. Following PRISMA 220 guidelines, the review process utilizes Web of Science and Google Scholar database to examine publication from 220 to 225, employing three keywords combination in English and Indonesia. One, cancer engineering and websites. Two, websites and psychological assessment. And three, cancer engineering and psychological assessment. The methodology implements Mendeley Desktop to article management, Microsoft Excel for data processing, and FastViewer for bibliometric network analysis. It is evidence that the final screen corpus comprised from 125 articles, indicating a study of reasonably robust scope. This indicates that studies close closely related to this research are still very limited. Result and discussion on documents by year pick off 35 published document in 2024, follow 2022 with 25 documents. In global regions, the analysis of national contribution from January 220 to June 2025 shows that Indonesia is the most significant contributor, accounting for 220, 253 of the 351 total author country instances. For leading author, the publication output saw consistent growth, led by Professor Anna Hadiana with 8 publications from Indonesia, Brin, Likmi, and Madira, followed by Professor Anita Wati Muhammad Lukman from University Technology Mara, Malaysia, with 7 publications, and third place Indra Griha Taufik Isa from Politeknik Negeri Sriwijaya, Indonesia, with 6 publications. For affiliate participation, the distribution of publication by institutional from January 2020 to June 2025, University Technology Mara Malaysia with contributing 20 publication, followed by Indonesia with Politeknik Negeri Sriwijaya 90 publication, 19 publication. Analysis of the keyword co-occurrence from these fictilities, a clear thematic structure, confirming the relevance of the 125 documents selected for this study. The 3 principal keywords identified are cancer engineering, website, and psychological assessment. Website as a central node, bridging the research domain of cancer engineering and psychological assessment. The visualization further reveal 5 distinct thematic clusters, each represented by a dominant color. 1. The green color cluster encompasses keywords pertaining to the intended application of cancer engineering website and user interface. The red cluster is associated with psychological assessment and its practical implementation, particularly in recruitment process for corporate and organizational roles. And 3. The blue cluster signifies research at the intersection of all 3 primary fields, while the yellow cluster highlights the relationship between user interface and psychological assessment. And 5, the purple cluster featuring university indicates that a significant portion of research applying cancer engineering to website focus on academic institutions. The relationship between cancer engineering and website, research on cancer engineering for website interface design ranks as the second most prevalent with a value of 17.9% from 335 documents of total study 2020 to 2025. The relationship between website and psychological assessment. The most prevalent psychological assessment method in web development, related research science 2020 is undefined, accounting for 53.2% of total studies. Subsequently, the Kraepelin test and PAPI caustic, each representing 6.5% of studies. The relationship between cancer engineering and psychological assessment, there are no direct connection as yet. Conclusion this research, the bibliometric analysis of 125 articles concerning cancer engineering, website, and physical assessment reveals an increasing publication trend, with the highest contribution originating from Indonesia, followed by Malaysia and Sri Lanka. The most active authors and institutions include Professor Anna Hadiana and University Technology Mara, Malaysia. The systematic literature review confirms the existence of a relationship between cancer engineering and website design, as well as between website and psychological assessment. However, direct link between cancer engineering and psychological assessment has not been explicitly established. Several contradictory findings also emerged, including the limitation of consent engineering in balancing emotional, evaluate functional usability, and the additional challenge posed by web-based physical assessment, particularly in mitigating participant response biases. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention. And I look to your feedback and question. This is my contact. Waalaikumsalam. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay,
Systematic literature
waalaikumsalam.
review.
That was indeed a very comprehensive presentation, Mr. Debbie. Yeah, Mr. Debbie.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Debbie, for the excellent presentation too. We have now reached for our Q&A and discussion segment. If any audience, everyone, have a question for Mr. Debbie and other authors, can apply your question for Mr. Debbie. If there's nothing a question, I will give you a question only one. Okay, for the audience, there is a question for Mr. Debbie and the teams. Okay, I think there's no the audience for the answer.
One question, please,
Okay,
Mr.
Mr. Debbie, please go ahead for the questions.
Forgive me, Mr. Debbie.
Yes.
I want to question what relationship consent engineering in website psychological assessment with behavior through biometric analysis. This research.
Okay, what the question for your point is about the relation between the behavior with engineering and website-based psychology or bibliomatics.
Yes.
Oke,
Thank you. Thank you.
Pak Debbie, hubungannya antara engineering dan website psikologi ini dengan bibliometriknya katanya Pak. Ini mirip-mirip dengan pertanyaan saya nih.
Okay. Thank you for your question, Mr. Yoyo. Our research found that in future applied research, consent engineering can be used to minimize contextual bias, yes, for focusing on the development, psychological assessment, especially web interface, yes, and bibliometric we use for filtering metadata with 335 publication document in the Scopus Q1 to Q4 with a total 5 years for 2020 to 2025.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there's your question, Mr. Rio, from Mr. Debbie answer. Yes, any kind of your answer again, Mr. Rio, or the other audience? Okay, there's now questions from other audience, maybe. Okay, thank you for Mr.
Thank you.
Debbie, the team for your presentation. Okay, and then we call for the third presenter with Mr. Kasir. Okay, the floor is yours, Mr. Kasir. Go ahead.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I present Kasir from University of Indonesia Membangun accounting program. Thus, the present my article is corporate governance mechanism and tax avoidance behavior, the role of firm profitability. As introduction, that tax avoidance refer to effort made by taxpayers to minimize their tax liabilities by taking advantage of favorable tax regulation. This may include utilizing income that is subject to final and non-final, where effective tax rate approaching zero. In my article, objections are property and real estate sector because effective tax rate in property and real estate sector is zero. Based on the table, property and real sector is the most aggressive in practicing tax avoidance, which justified its selection as the research object, alongside corporate governance factors including tax avoidance with profitability as a mating variable. In framework and hypothesis are institutional ownership affect profitability, the composition of independent board of commissioners affect profitability, institutional ownership affect tax avoidance, the composition of the independent board of commissioners affect tax avoidance, profitability affects tax avoidance, institutional ownership affect tax avoidance, drug profitability, and the composition of independent board of commissioners affects and tax avoidance, drug profitability. And as methodology are consists of 22 list companies of period 2019 to 2023 using a process sampling of a total of 45 companies were selected as the sample. Was conducted by IFUS 12 and the Sobel test to examine the mediating effect. Is the result regression model selection, question test 1 and question test 2 choice RAM model. In hypothesis testing model 1, institutional ownership effect profitability is p-value 0.04 under 0.05, and hypothesis 2 not significant. And hypothesis testing model 2, hypothesis 3 significant, hypothesis 12 not significant, hypothesis 5 not significant, and mediation tests are hypothesis 6 mediation exists and hypothesis 7 no mediation. As the question are the influence of institutional ownership on profitability, that institutional ownership has a positive and significant effect on profitability, that greater the institutional ownership, the higher the company's profit, due more effective managerial control and oversight. Institutional investitor possesses greater decision-making right, enabling them to enhance profitability through stricter supervision and capital support. Number 2, the effect of composition of dependent board of commissioners on profitability, that the result of the testing and analysis indicated that the composition of the independent board of communication doesn't have a significant effect on profitability. Number 3, that the effect of institutional ownership on tax avoidance, that the research findings indicate that institutional ownership doesn't have a significant effect on tax avoidance. Number 4, that the effect of the composition of the independent board of commission on tax avoidance. The result of the testing and analysis showed that the composition of the independent board of commissioners has an effect on tax avoidance. And number 4, the effect of probability on tax avoidance, that the higher the ROA, the greater the profit earned by a company, which is ultimate lead to a higher the tax bundle. And 6, profitability is mediating variable between institutional ownership and tax avoidance, that firms with majority institutional ownership have greater control over corporate policies, particularly in enhancing profitability within to support more effective and efficient tax and management strategies. And then number 7, profitability as mediating for variable between the composition of the dependent board of commissioners and tax avoidance, that a higher number of independent commissioners enhance oversight, leading to greater profitability, which support more effective and efficient tax strategy. And at least conclusion, based on the research finding and discussion, it can be concluded the institutional ownership, the composition of independent board of commission, and profitability simultaneously influence tax avoidance. Partially, institutional ownership has a positive and significant effect on profitability, and profitability positive and significantly affect tax avoidance. However, the composition of the independent board has no effect on profitability, and neither institutional ownership nor board composition directly affect tax avoidance. My presentation in paper. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for Mr. Nasir for such an informative and comprehensive presentation. Okay, now we have moved to our question and answer session. Due to time constraint, we will be taking only 1 or 2 questions for Mr. Nasir and team. Okay, the first question, there's a question from the audience.
May I?
Sure, okay.
Mr. Denny?
Leo, please.
Mr. Kasir, what different tax avoidance or not pay yet nor pay tax it? What different tax avoidance and what method in accounting to apply to avoidance in enterprise?
Okay, Mr. Kasim, did you understand with Mr. Yoyo questions? He said about what is tax avoidance from accounting, maybe for the another for your conclusion about your tax avoidance, there's effective tax rate or current effective tax rate or cash effective tax rate. Maybe you can choose why you choose only ATR or another variable, Mr. Kasim. Please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ryoyo, for your question. Mr. Denny, please, your question in Indonesia.
Okay, can you speak loudly, Mr. Kasir? There's a little voice for your sound. Suaranya kecil, Pak Kasir. Bisa disalin nggak? Volume.
Oke, cukup?
Okay, that's enough. Good.
Okay. Please be your question by Indonesian, Mr. Denny.
Jadi gini Pak Kasir, Pak Yoyo nanya, Pak Yoyo bisa pakai bahasa Indonesia nggak Pak Yoyo?
Bisa Pak, udah makan kangkung?
Pak Yoyo pakai bahasa Indonesia kan Pak Yoyo?
Apa bedanya Pak Kasir, tax avoidance kan menghindari pajak ya. Menghindari pajak dengan tidak membayar pajak kan. Terus metode apa untuk bisa melaksanakan tax avoidance di perusahaan. Gitu aja Pak Kasir.
Pilihannya tadi
Oke.
3 Pak Kasir. Boleh
Oke.
mau pakai ETR, boleh pakai cash ETR, atau boleh pakai current ETR. Itu Pak Kasir.
Oke, terima kasih Mr. Yoyo dan Mr. Jenny karena ini terkait pajak dan mohon maaf bahasa Inggris saya juga kurang fluently ya, kurang lancar. Jadi sekalian menjelaskan ke wajib pajak ya terkait pajak. Takutnya nanti kalau pakai bahasa Inggris saya juga terbata-bata. Jadi alangkah baiknya langsung dengan bahasa Indonesia aja supaya dapat dimengerti.
Oke, nggak
Yang
apa-apa Pak.
pertama adalah terkait masalah penghindaran pajak dan tidak membayar pajak. Secara umum, penghindaran pajak itu adalah melakukan pembayaran pajak yang lebih kecil. Dalam hal ini, apakah nanti menjadi legal atau tidak legal? Kalau menjadi legal, artinya bahwa penghindaran pajak itu sesuai dengan aturan main yang ada, sesuai dengan peraturan perpajakan, yang dalam istilah perpajakan namanya tax avoidance. Sedangkan untuk melakukan pembayaran pajak yang tidak sesuai dengan peraturan perpajakan, itu ada istilahnya tax evasion. Jadi perbedaannya sangat jelas bahwa antara tax avoidance dengan tax evasion itu di mana kalau tax avoidance itu adalah pembayaran pajak yang dilakukan atau penghindaran pajak yang dilakukan secara legal. Kalau tax evasion itu sebaliknya. Terkait masalah metode-metode, ada beberapa yang dilakukan oleh perusahaan, dalam hal ini juga dilakukan oleh para peneliti. Itu ada beberapa, ada yang menggunakan effective tax rate maupun cash effective rate. Kenapa dalam setiap penelitian rata-rata menggunakan effective tax rate? Karena apa? Bahwa effective tax rate ini digunakan oleh para peneliti untuk menilai sejauh mana penghindaran pajak yang dilakukan oleh wajib pajak tersebut sesuai dengan peraturan perpajakan, di mana dalam effective tax rate tersendiri adalah bagaimana pembayaran pajak yang dilakukan oleh wajib itu benar-benar real. Beda kalau yang cash effective tax rate. Kalau cash effective tax rate itu bagaimana pembayaran pajak itu hanya dilakukan secara cash basis aja. Mudah-mudahan bisa membantu. Terima kasih Pak Yoyo dan Mr. Denny.
Oke, good. Thank you Mr. Kasir. Pak Yoyo gimana Pak?
Thank you. Udah makasih puas. Satisfaction.
Oh, good. Thank you for your answer, Mr. Kasir. Now, I have a question for you, Mr. Kasir. I am curious about your suggestion, especially about your variable. This doesn't an impact for your independent variable. Jadi ada dua variabel yang tidak berpengaruh ya Pak Kasir ya kalau nggak salah ya. Tadi disebutkan ada seasonal ownership sama kepemilikan manajerial kalau salah Pak Kasir ya yang tidak berpengaruh. Nah, about two variables doesn't have an impact for the dependent variables. What is the contribution for that variable for your objects research? Jadi apa sih kegunaannya atau kontribusi dari dua variabel itu kalau dia tidak berpengaruh gitu Pak Kasir? Apakah ada variabel lain yang mempengaruhinya atau memang kurang datanya atau seperti apa dan impactnya akibatnya apa buat penelitian Bapak untuk kita? Itu terima kasih pertanyaannya. Terima kasih.
Oke, thank you. Pertanyaannya Pak Denny ya, terkait sama variabel yang tidak mempengaruhi. Yang pertama memang ada beberapa variabel-variabel yang mempengaruhi, juga ada yang variabel yang tidak mempengaruhi. Untuk variabel yang tidak mempengaruhi sendiri, kayak contoh komposisi Dewan Komisaris Independen, sebenarnya Dewan Komisaris Independen sendiri itu sifatnya netral. Akan tetapi pada saat berhubungan dengan peraturan perpajakan, tentunya tidak semua Dewan Komisaris Independen itu mengetahui peraturan perpajakan. Nah, dalam hal komposisi Dewan Komisaris Independen yang tidak mempengaruhi ini, tentunya perusahaan atau khususnya wajib pajak ini memberikan pemahaman kepada Dewan Komisaris Independen bahwa penghindaran pajak yang dilakukan selama ini bukan untuk melanggar peraturan perpajakan, akan tetapi memang untuk menunjang bagaimana caranya pembayaran pajak yang dilakukan oleh perusahaan itu lebih rendah dari yang seharusnya tanpa adanya melanggar peraturan perpajakan yang ada. Demikian juga untuk institusional, kepemilikan institusional itu juga sama bahwa kepemilikan dari para perusahaan-perusahaan tentunya kita harus diberikan pemahaman yang intinya bahwa penghindaran pajak yang dilakukan itu bukan untuk membuat perusahaan tersebut di mata pemegang saham itu menjadi jelek. Tapi bagaimana caranya penghindaran pajak itu memang menguntungkan perusahaan. Sekian.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kasit, for your answer. Okay, now for the fourth presenter, for Mr. Asep Wasit. Mr. Asep, are you here? Ya, ada, Mr. Asepnya ada ya. Okay, please take the
Assalamualaikum
stage
warahmatullahi
for
wabarakatuh,
you to
ladies and gentlemen. I will present the result of the research at this international conference. And the next slide. Okay, Arduino and GPS-based safety and vehicle control and notification system with vibration detection by Asep Wasit and Mr. Abidin, Department of Computer System, University of Indonesia Membangun, Bandung City, West Java. Next. Background, low economy impact, the higher the level of crime and death. Security motorized vehicles such as a motorbike are often the main target for death. Conventional vehicle safety and system has limitation efficiency in providing the direct warning to vehicle owner. Technology-based vehicle system security system Arduino-based technology is here to order a more sophisticated and effective vehicle security system. As a solution, the Arduino-based security system is designed to provide image notification to vehicle owner if suspicious activity is detected. Utility mobile communication technology by sending SMS and location tracking. Using a vibration sensor connected to the Arduino Uno microcontroller can provide a sense of the comfort to the vehicle owner. Research method. The type of research used is quantitative research, experiment method, hardware and software design to the test. System architecture. The architecture consists of three main modules: detection module using a pressure sensor, communication module using GSM module, tracking module using GPS module. Main component: Arduino Uno as the main microcontroller, GSM module for SMS communication and telephone call, GPS module to tracking vehicle location, vibration sensor to detect vehicle vibration, relay to control alarm activation, power supply, battery, and power adapter. Block diagram system. Power supply and charger, battery, Arduino Uno, SIM module, GPS module, smartphone, relay, and pressure sensor. System workflow. System activation, the system is activation via SMS with the common alarm on. Activation detection, vibration sensor will detect movement or vibration in the vehicle. Notification delivery is suspicious activity in detecting the system will send SMS containing the alarm and vehicle location. Make a phone call the vehicle owner number. Result and discussion in general. Handlebar, look, this security system is more focused on overcoming the crime. Solution alarm have distinct limitation in providing direct warning to vehicle owner. The alarm system is not effective if the vehicle is located far from the vehicle owner. System to be discussed. Arduino-based vehicle system security system with the shift detection and notification via SMS and telephone call. Arduino Uno microcontroller as input-output connection. All components include GPS, GSM, module, and vibration sensor. Relay and relay as indicator in vehicle electrical circuit breaker. Testing. The procedure for testing location retribution by GPS. Input, check location, process activity Google Map on the new block, new GPS smartphone. Output, location display on Google Map. Description for broken. The SMS testing procedure turn off on the motor. Input, motor off on, process touch the SIM module and microcontroller to activate the relay. Output, motor is turned off on, description broken. The testing the procedure activating alarm. Input, alarm on, process the relay activating the vibration sensor and microcontroller. Output, there is location delivery and telephone call, description broken. Conclusion in discussion. Conclusion. An Arduino Uno and GPS-based security notification and vehicle control system with vibration detection is an effective and an effective solution to improve the vehicle system. The system detects suspicious activity in real time. Arduino-based vehicle security and detection system provide an efficient and affordable solution to improve vehicle safety. By using GPS, GSM, relay, sensors, and backup battery modules, as well as telephone call notification page, this system is able to tracking vehicle location. Suggestion. Further research with further development such as the integration of mobile application and artificial intelligence. Potentially, by utilizing machine learning algorithm, the system could record more complex data pattern. Thank you. Arduino.
Okay, that was very interesting presentation, Mr. Asep. Thank you for the excellent presentation. And we have now reached for our Q&A and discussion segment. Okay, Mr. Asep, would you on your hand? Mr. Asep Wasid. Okay. Asepnya sudah on cam. There's any question from other audience for Mr. Asep? Apakah ada pertanyaan?
Yes.
Topik ini.
May I?
Sure,
Mr.
Mr. Yoyo.
Moderator.
Okay, sure, Mr. Yoyo, please.
But Mr. Adewasid, sorry, I'm question for you. Yes.
Mr. Yoyo, would you give
Okay.
him a question for Indonesian language? Boleh kasih pertanyaannya pakai bahasa Indonesia untuk Mr. Asep.
What different Arduino and GPS based for outcome research, yeah, for my life, people life, gitu.
Pak Yoyo, pakai bahasa Indonesia dulu aja, Pak Yoyo.
Hah?
Pakai bahasa Indonesia. Pak Asepnya minta pertanyaannya pakai bahasa Indonesia.
Bagaimana penggunaan Arduino dan GPS, apa hubungannya dan bagaimana kegunaannya untuk kehidupan kita gitu Pak. Dan pemrogramannya apa yang dipakai gitu Pak.
Okay, great. Pak Asep, sudah terdengar pertanyaannya Pak Asep? Pak Asep? Speakernya mungkin Pak Asep. Di on cam dulu. Mikrofon, Pak Asep. Speakernya Pak Asep yang sebelah kiri bawah.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Yoyo atas pertanyaannya. Saya jawab pakai bahasa Indonesia ya.
Sip.
Baik, sementara sekarang itu lebih terkenal dengan komponen microcontroller Pak Yoyo. Jadi itu suatu komponen yang mungkin dikatakan terintegrasi dari beberapa komponen. Ya. Karena terintegrasi dari beberapa komponen sehingga bisa memudahkan kita untuk merancang sesuatu alat atau juga bisa saja istilahnya lebih ekonomis gitu ya, lebih ekonomis. Nah, kaitan dengan penggunaannya dengan kehidupan kita, maka kita mencoba menggabungkan dengan beberapa alat lain gitu ya, seperti sensor gitu ya, terus GPS gunanya sih untuk komunikasi. Berarti bisa saja melalui panggilan atau kirim dengan melalui handphone gitu ya. Sementara GPS itu bisa saja menentukan suatu lokasi keberadaan kendaraan tersebut sehingga bisa dipantau oleh handphone gitu ya dengan bantuan Google Map. Seperti itu kira-kira Pak. Terima kasih. Ya.
Oke, Pak Yoyo, ada tambahan pernyataan pertanyaan Pak Yoyo atas jawaban dari Pak Asep?
Ya Pak Wasid. Terima kasih Pak Wasid. I'm satisfaction.
Ya, terima kasih kembali Pak Yoyo.
Wait, thank you for your answer, Mr. Asep, and thank you for your participating about your question, Mr. Yoyo. Okay, let's see about the last presenter is Mr. Yoyo. So, okay, please take a seat for Mr. Yoyo for our last presenter from Penabang.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This moment I presentation my research and the title General Analysis of Financial Decision Making among Gene X, Gene Y, dan Gene Z. Introduction, the phenomenon, understanding generation financial behavior in urban Indonesia. Indonesia rapid urbanization and digitalization are reshaping how people manage their finance. Generation different, Gen X, Gen Y, Millennial, and Gen Z are expected to influence saving, spending, and financial planning habit. Prior studies emphasizing financial literacy, but limited research compare integration behavior across major cities. The study explore how income, gender, occupation, affect financial decision across Jakarta, Bandung, and Surabaya. Research and methodology content design quantitative explanatory research using only survey, NER, and 3,100 people. Cities Jakarta, Bandung, Surabaya. Respondent evenly split across Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. Main variable, financial behavior, saving, timely payment, discount use, financial plan adjustment. Demography, income, gender, occupation. Analysis. We make analysis Kruskal-Wallis test for generation comparison uncovered to test demographic effect, ribbon chart for visual behavior analysis by generation, gender, and city. Finding. Main finding from statistical test. Main finding from statistical test, no significant generation different in overall financial decision making. V 1.813. Income significantly impact financial decision. V 0.05. Gender occupation shower don't significant effect. Gen Y shower strong saving and discount seeking behavior. Jakarta resident score high in saving and timely payment include to mini icon or arrow to visual show Gen Y saving Jakarta high discipline. Ribbon chart inside behavior dynamic across cities and generation. Cities partner Jakarta lead in saving, paying on time, and use discount. Bandung score lower saving behavior. Generation Gen Y so high awareness of discount or strong saving behavior. Insert ribbon chart visual or simply bar to illustration trend. Gender, woman exhibit better saving and payment discipline than men. I repeat, gender, woman exhibit better saving and payment discipline than men. Implication recommendation Practical and theoretical implication. Content. Behavior accounting inside income is a strong predictor of financial behavior than generation or gender. Future. Future research consider longitudinal and qualitative approach for different insight. Expand to rural area for border generality. Policy suggestion, financial literacy program should target income group, not a cohort. Tailor education campaign to local urban, Toksid, Jakarta versus Bandung. Thank you for your time and attention. Akhirul kalam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Joyo, for the excellent presentation. We have now reached for our Q&A and discussion segment. We have reached several questions from participants, but due to time constraint, we will select only the top of 2 questions for our speakers. Okay, the first question from any audience. There's a question for Mr. Yoyo Antik. Please.
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Kartika.
Yeah. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very interesting research, I think. I want to ask about finding from this result that when income rises, does it mean that people have more awareness in financial decision? When income rises, does it mean that people have more awareness in financial decision? I think that's it, my question. Thank you so much.
Yoyo, Mr. Yoyo. How about the question list for Miss?
Thank you, Bu Kartika. Miss Kartika Nuridan, yeah. I think financial decision for among Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, relationship, income for big city, Jakarta, Bandung, and Surabaya. Conclusion, woman very easy to saving, very easy to saving. Income in Jakarta, Bandung, and Surabaya very high. Jakarta, normal Surabaya, and low Bandung. S3 city in big city in Indonesia. Financial decision with demografi dan ada jalur pita Cirebon, explanation to among Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen Z, yeah. Conclusion, analysis financial decision making to future good for psikologis, yes. Okay. Next mau riset ke next riset Kartika Nurdiani mungkin maybe to deep research next gitu. Okay, maybe my explanation is finished. Thank you Bu Kartika. Thank you Pak Denny Hamdani.
Okay, great. How about the Miss Kartika? If you have this about the answer. from Mr. Yoyo?
I think it's enough. Thank you so much, Mr. Yoyo, for the answer.
Okay,
Thank
great,
you.
Mr. Yoyo
You're welcome.
and Mrs. Kartika. Okay, another question for Mr. Yoyo, the last one, maybe for the last session for today. Any question for Mr. Yoyo? If there's no question, I will ask him about the last questions. Okay, I think Mr. Yoyo, I have a question for you. There's interesting research for you and your team, but I have curious about the Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z. Did you have explained about the age between for Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z, and why you choose Surabaya? There's a far city from in Jakarta and Bandung. Okay, there's one question with A and B, Mr. Leo. Jadi ada dua pertanyaan. Usia berapa saja Gen X, Y, and Z, dan kenapa milihnya Surabaya, Pak Yoyo? Nggak Semarang atau Yogyakarta yang deketan dengan Jakarta Bandung?
Okay, Mr. Dani, thank you. In Indonesia, big five city, Medan, Makassar, Jakarta, Bandung, Surabaya. I chose three big city in Java, Jakarta, Bandung, and Surabaya. The reason, income per capita in Gen Y, Z, and X, big income, another city in Indonesia. One reason. Young manager in three city big Indonesia is very high. Young manager, terus demografi lintas generation atau among generation Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, research penulis kita we have conclusion for a next decision and by market who products to market in future. Oke. Jadi memasarkan produknya apa karena mungkin pendapatannya mungkin paling tinggi, nanti si produsen bisa memasarkan produk yang mana karena pendapatannya tinggi dan mana juga mungkin paling boros dan siapa yang akan memilih gitu Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z dan bisa melihat ternyata dari kesimpulan perempuan Gen Y itu yang paling bisa menabung gitu ya. Gitu. Oke, Mr. Denny.
Okay, that's your question, Sri. Oke, jadi untuk Cirebon, untuk Surabaya karena memang salah satu kota terbesar di Indonesia ya, Pak Yoyo, yang dipilihnya ya.
Oke.
Okay, and then the Gen Z, Gen Y, and Gen X, what between the age, Pak Yoyo? Usia, misalkan Pak Yoyo, maksudnya tiga Gen mana nih? Gen Z atau Gen X atau Gen Y?
Baby boomer.
What is the age between Gen Y, Gen X, and Gen Z, Mr. Yoyo? Did you know about the age? I saw
rank age 25 and 45.
For Gen Z.
Yes. Terus City Bandung men Genjet 31, woman 17. Yes. Genye Bandung, Genye fever 6 fever, woman 30 fever. Genjet Bandung 17, woman 25. Just total 381 people in 3 city, Jakarta, Bandung, and Surabaya.
Okay, Mr. Yo,
Okay.
I think that's enough for your answer. Thank you for the excellent presentation. And I think that's the end of the session. And Mr. Jidan, would you have closed the slide and then we have opened our cam to make a photo session for all of the team from Inaba. For another audience, if you have opened your camera, that's a great idea for the photo session. Mr. Jidan, would you please give it for photo session? Mr. Jidan,
Sudah, Pak.
Sip.
Udah semua belum?
screen saver aja ya, kita screen saver aja ya. Oke, 1, 2, 3. Sekali lagi. Sekali lagi, boleh gaya bebas aja. 1, 2, 3.
Inaba.
Nah, kenapa boleh, kenapa? Oke, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
I think ladies and gentlemen, ladiesnya nggak ada. Bu Kartika udah nggak ada ya? Kartika udah nggak ada. Oke, thank you for your cooperation about this proceedings. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank all speakers and participants for your valuable contribution. And then today's session, we look forward to your active. And then look for the upcoming session. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the conference. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Denny. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Mr. Dan.
all.
You're welcome, everyone. Let's see.
See you.
Nice day.